Today we are going to learn the lesson from the English subject for class 10 chapter 2 Nelson Mandela Long Walk to Freedom. In the previous section we have learned about how Nelson Mandela invited everybody for the inauguration day and the place of inauguration was detailedly described. Then how the swearing has happened by the three members in that stage, as well as the author's address was explained in your previous pages and previous PPT. And today is the second PPT for pages 19 to 21. The page 19, you're having this passage that starts with a few moments later, we all lifted our eyes in awe as a spectacular array of South Africa jets, helicopters, and troops carriers rode in perfect formation over the Union buildings. It was not only a display of pinpoint precision and military force, but a demonstration of the military's loyalty to democracy, to a new government that had been freely and fairly elected. That means in this passage, he's describing that after the address of the Nelson Mandela, all people's eyes were lifted towards the sky, and there was an impressive display of South African jets, helicopters, and troops which doing the perfect formation over that Union building. And it was really a display, a perfect performance of military force towards the formation of new government and the new president, Nelson Mandela. Here, the word awesome represents feelings of respect and either fear, and spectacular array means an impressive display. That means colorful and impressive display. Colorful and impressive display. And in this slide, you're able to see the smoke trail of a new South African flag. Here you're able to see the flag which is having the color of red, blue, white, green, yellow, and black. And nearby you are able to see the another picture which is having a chevron shape. That means a V pattern shape of the jets, which delivers the smoke, colored smoke like red, blue, green, yellow, white, etc. Now in this passage you are able to see the different defense force of South Africa. That means the highest generals of African Defense Force as well as the police. They are appearing in front of Nelson Mandela, and here they are described their uniform, which is full of in their chest, which is full of decorated with ribbons and the medals that they have got for their um, experience, as well as they saluted and showed their pledge and loyalty in front of the new formed government. But in Nelson Mandela's mind, he was very conscious and aware of the fact that the same force or the same police in the past years appeared in front of him, before him, not to salute but to arrest him on the basis of the apathy system that they formed, and it was finalized by the chevron pattern of the Impala jets, which left a smoke trail of black, red, green, blue, and gold of the new South African flag. Here, the meaning bedecked means decorated, not mindful of, represents conscious of, aware of, and chevron here represents a pattern in the shape of a V. In this passage, you can able to see that the day was symbolized for the author by the playing of two national anthems. The white sang Nicosia Sikale I Africa, and the black sang Die Stem. These formed the old anthems of the Republic. These two national anthems shows that there were two communities or two race peoples were there in that program. Whether they don't know the meaning of the lyrics of the anthem, but later by slowly they would know the words, what they represents. At that time they can able to take it in their till their heart. In this passage, we come to know that the author, on the day of inauguration, he is having overwhelmed with the history. Overwhelmed means here overcome or over completely covered by the history. That in the first decade of the 20th century, um, before his birth, Anglo-Boer War was happened between the white-skinned peoples of South Africa that patched up the difference and made a construct um, an apartheid system, and it make a racial dominations against the dark-skinned people of their own land. So these both war actually take place between the African people, those who are settled in South Soil, as well as between the Britain, those who came there and settled in the South Africa. So he considered the dark-skinned people and white-skinned people having a war. So before the birth of this Nelson Mandela, this war happens and made a apartheid system. A very deep-rooted apartheid system was constructed, and he built an compound wall between two systems, two peoples, two racials, and two communities. This structure, which has created the bias one of the harshest and most inhumane societies among the world that has ever known. And for the last 20th century, the Nelson Mandela now has become telling that he is in the eighth decade. Eighth decade here means 8 into 10, that means 80 years. Now his age become 80 years as a man. He tried to overturn these problems forever, and he tried to make a replace and make the people to recognize their own rights and freedoms of the people those are living in the South Africa, not based of their color of their skin, but they should know what their right and what their freedom in their own land. In this passage, we come across three new words. One is overwhelmed, that means overcome or cover completely, and the second one is Anglo-Boer War, means a war that take place between two people, that is Britain and South Africa, and third one is erected, means which means constructed or built. And in this passage, the auspicious day came after the sacrifices of thousands of people. The author thought of himself the sum of all those people. He was pained that he couldn't thank them. That means in this passage, the author shows his regret towards the people, thousands of people who sacrificed their own life by using their courage. They counted and repaid for their land. And in so other days, he's telling that these people, because of their love towards their country, they defend their country by killing their own life, by spending sacrifice their own life. Though that long and noble line now ended into a full stop in this day, and he feel very pain that he should not able to thank those people, those who sacrifice their life for their land. Because of their sacrifice, now he is able to stand in the position as a first black president. Here, patriot represents one who loves and defends his or her country, and sacrifice means the act of losing or killing or destroy, and wrought represents, that means done or achieved. It is an old-fashioned, a formal word used in writing. And in this picture, you can able to see some prominent names of people, some prominent leaders names, those who struggle against the apartheid system, like Oliver Tambo, Walter Sisulu, Chief Luthiers, Yusuf Dadus, and Bram Fisher, and Robert Subukovs. Later that in this passage, the author remembering the freedom fighters. That means the policy of apartheid created a lasting wound in his country and his people. This policy had produced a great freedom fighters, like they were like Oliver Tambo, Walter Sisulu, Chief Luthis, Yusuf Dadus, etc. They were men of uncommon courage, wisdom, and generosity. The country was rich in minerals, but its greatest wealth was its people. That means in this passage, the writer really regrets about the freedom fighters. Those freedom fighters become the direction to lead their um, eradicate this apartheid system in their land, and these people experienced a profound hurt generation after generation. They have experienced the hurt in their mind and their heart, though it becomes a decades. The oppressions and their brutality had affected to made produced leaders like Oliver Tambo's and Walter Sislu's and Yusuf Daddo's, Bram Fizzer's, etc. These men are considered to be the extraordinary courage people, wisdom and um, generosity and the depth of the oppression that they created this kind of character leaders for them to lead their land into a successful path. Though the Africa is rich in mineral and gems which is beneath hide in their soil, still he considered that the wealth of their own country is their own people. They are finer, truer and purest diamonds when compared with the gems and minerals. So their people is considered to be the fine and pure diamond. They are the great wealth according to Nelson Mandela. Here, profound is a new vocabulary we are getting. That means deep and strong. In this passage, the author tries to tell that the definition of courage and the brave and the man's goodness. That means in this passage we come to know that from these people, here means the soldiers, the comrades, the author learned that meaning of courage. The soldiers, those who struggle for the freedom, they from them he learned what is the meaning of courage. They risked their lives, they underwent great torture, and he learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the victory over it, triumph over it. And also, he tells that the brave man, if you consider a man as a brave, is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. One who victory over that fear is considered to be the brave man. And again, he says that no one is born hating another person due to color or religion. They could be taught to love. Love comes naturally to the human heart. In prison, they were pushed to the wall, but he saw humanity in the hearts of the gods. It was man's essential goodness. It can't be put out. So in this passage, we come to know that resilience means ability to deal with any kind of hardship and recover from its effects. And pushed to our limits means pushed to the last point in our ability to bear pain. After learning the passage from page number 19 to 21, you have few questions to test yourself. The first question is the author's age at the time of this inauguration was 80 years, 75 years, 79 years, 70 years. Answer is 80 years. Second question, the white people of South Africa now dash formed a common front, recognized the rights of all people, opposed the author's being a president, stood together, recognize the rights of all people. What does the smoke trail of Impala symbolizes? The smoke trail of Impala symbolizes the different color flag of new South African government. Fourth question, find a word from the given passage which means decorated, overcame or submerged, large-heartedness. Decorated is bedecked, overcame or submerged means overwhelmed, large-heartedness means generosity. Question number 5. How many anthems were sung by them and why? 2 anthems. One is by whites and another one is by blacks. White sang Nicosia Sikale I Africa and black sang Diastem because they are of two communities, two racial dominations were there. So they made a two anthem to sing on that day. One is the old republic one and the one that's new one. Sixth question. What does courage mean to Mandela? By courage, Mandela means not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. How does the author defines courage and the brave man? The author defines courage as not the absence of fear, but it is the triumph over it. Fear is really bad for the country. The brave man is not he who does not feel fear of any kind, but he is different. He is the brave man who conquers that fear. Ninth question. Mention the names of some great leaders who fought for their freedom against apartheid. You have Oliver Tambo, Yusuf Dadus, etc. Eighth question. What pained Nelson Mandela on becoming the president of South Africa? Nelson Mandela feel pain because he is not able to thank those leaders who struggle for this independence and destroy this apartheid system. And 10th question, in the passage, man's goodness compared to what? In the passages, man's goodness was compared to flames. Thank you.